Robert Halfon, this is now Friday morning. Tomorrow Harlow goes into Tier 2. What's your message to the very concerned Harlow residents, people on furlough, people who run hospitality, and everybody in employment?
Well, it's incredibly sad what is going on. I've sat in meetings with Essex Council, with the Health Secretary, the Health Ministers, Public Health England, about the situation in Harlow and Essex. And in essence, what they've said is that if they didn't go down to Tier 2, which is what's going to happen midnight tonight, Harlow would be facing potentially the same, and Essex, the same situation as the north of England, which would mean, in essence, in 4 weeks we'd be on even higher tier levels and a much worse lockdown, which would hurt businesses even more. And the government have so far given £130 million to Harlow. That's not even including the furlough, but that's to help businesses, and I worked very hard to try and get that money. I've sent a letter yesterday to the Chancellor urging that support is given to businesses who struggle in Harlow in terms of this Tier 2. Most of the things stay the same, except for the fact that we're only allowed to go out with you can't go out with any other household unless it's within your so-called support bubble.
But can you understand how Harlow residents are saying, looking at the figures, I think it's 54 per 100,000. They're looking at somewhere like Newcastle area, something like 480, and they just can't. They're doing the maths and they just can't figure it out. They feel there's no justification for this.
Well, it's actually gone up by over 50% in the past few days, and the problem is the disease is doubling every 2 to 3 weeks. And if that happens, we will be in a situation in the north. So the action that Essex Council, Public Health England, the Health Secretary, the Chief Medical Officer of the country, and I'm not a scientist or a medical officer, I feel that I don't have any alternative but to trust the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of the country. And they say that basically if Essex doesn't do this, we will be in a worse situation, much worse, and we'll have to have much higher restrictions. The other thing we have to remember in Harlow is that we have a wonderful hospital, Princess Alexandra Hospital, and all the staff there do a remarkable job, but they really struggled when in the middle of the lockdown, when there were increased deaths, and we don't want to get another situation like that again if the disease continues to double.
Do you feel you're damned if you do, damned if you don't? Or indeed the Prime Minister as well?
Well, I think that the government, the Chief Medical Officer, are walking a tightrope. So on one side of the tightrope, you've got to worry about the economy. But the economy is not just a word, it's about people's livelihoods and jobs and businesses who are struggling. But on the other side of the tightrope is this disease, which, if you get it, can be pretty debilitating. And now they're showing that even if you get it and recover from it, you could have symptoms for quite a long time. So I genuinely don't know 100% for sure whether they're right or not, but I just have to place my faith in the Chief Medical Officer of the country. And if their Chief Medical Officer comes to me, and Public Health England comes to me and say, this is what is needed in Harlow, I feel duty bound, because we have to do everything we can to avoid more illnesses and more death, and the situation getting much worse. And it may be, God willing, that if we do this Tier 2, as we're going to do from midnight tonight, from Saturday morning, that it may get better, and then we can loosen those restrictions towards Christmas.